Hey everybody, it's Javier here, and today I just wanted to kind of go over a quick vegetable that you can actually prep up and have as part of your prep for the week. It's super simple to make, and it's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites to have for the week. I don't often do it, but when I do, I love it, and it's really nutritious for you. So I wanted to show you. It's a little bit about Swiss chard. I've already got some Swiss chard soak in here. You'll notice that I used my sink. You're probably going, what? Trust me, stainless steel sinks like this, you can clean out just like a stainless steel bowl. All right, it's a little bit of a trick of the trade, but you make sure that you actually clean out your sink really well. So I scrubbed mine really well and sanitized it, right, and then I filled it up with cold water, and then I just put the bunch of Swiss chard that I had purchased in there. And what it does is it accomplishes two things. One, it accomplishes crisping up the Swiss chard, and number two, if there's any dirt, debris, sand, whatever, it's all going to float to the bottom. It's all going to float to the bottom of the sink or the bowl here. Okay, so that's what you do. Let me just set this down really quick, and let me show you something else. So once you've got it sinking, what you want to do is obviously separate the leaves from the stems, and it's pretty simple to do. You just want to kind of grab the base and just pull, and the stem will come off free, and you've got yourself the leaves separately. All right. So once you do that, just kind of keep things separate, and you can move along really quick, just like that, just by stripping. You can do this same style with like kale. You could do this with spinach. You could do this with collard greens, what have you. But you can really go through this process really fast. And I don't throw away the stems. The stems are absolutely something that I love to cook, but you have to kind of cook them a little bit separately or at different timing. So you'll notice when I go to cook them, how I start off cooking with those first with a little bit of onion. So we'll get back to that in a second. So we got the stems here already separated, and all I'm going to do is just kind of roughly chop them into little bite-sized pieces. So you can just line them up like this, and actually just go down the line. Okay, chop half inch to about an inch long. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but then you got nice bite-sized pieces in there, so something like that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to actually cook those first before actually putting in the leaves, which I have already drained. They're washed out and they're drained, and the greens. So what I like to do is kind of just real quick, just kind of, you can almost put them up in a ball like this and just go right down, again, about maybe an inch size or so. You can definitely hand cut these as well if you want. I mean, just kind of hand pull them. You can, do a lot of this. This way, it actually, when you tear that, it tears in, it kind of tears the leaf up in the natural contours of the cell structure, which some people kind of prefer. I think that's kind of cool with certain herbs, but for vegetables like this, I don't think it really matters because it's going to get cooked down anyways. So I think this is fine. Again, chopping or hand cutting is fine. If this were to be eaten raw, then I would think, yeah, maybe hand pulled is better. That way the leaves don't bleed. If that makes any sense. I think that's usually the concern with leafy greens or even herbs like basil and things like that. All right, so that's pretty much it. Simple. Onions to be an aromatic. So just a red onion, or some people call it a Bermuda onion. I like to cut off both ends, chop down the middle, so you have two sides. Okay. I'm gonna move this off to the side. I forgot my little bowl, but that's okay. Cooking is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be this perfect thing or a stressful thing. Just have fun with it. Again, so I got two halves. Real quickly, just peel off the first layer if you want. So you got this happening. All right. And what you want to do is just kind of cut around the onion itself. So you see how the angle of the knife is going to actually follow the onion. So in this case, they're just slices. You can go slow. Of course, I have a little bit of experience, but if you are chopping, I want you to go slow. Stay safe. Nice sharp knife is the key to any knife skill. If you have a knife where you're like, you're kind of struggling with it, you are risking yourself, cutting yourself, and injuring yourself. So get yourself a nice sharp knife where the knife does the work for you, and use the slicing technique on that. All right, so slice. Cool. And that's gonna go with the actual stems of the Swiss chard. All right, so here I'm gonna be cooking away now. I just got a nice medium-sized pot going on, heating it up at about medium high. And I'm just gonna start it off by adding just some extra virgin olive oil. I don't like to take the heat up too high with extra virgin olive oil because you can burn the extra virgin olive oil, and we don't want that, okay? So I'm gonna start off with that, just a little bit. I think a tablespoon is all we need. Let me see if I can get it. So, you see, that's just a tablespoon. Not a whole lot, all right? Now, while that's heating up, I can see that it's already kind of shimmering. And that's what we want, just a little shimmer. I don't want to, in this particular case, I don't want to see smoke point coming out because it is extra virgin olive oil. If there was something else that can retain the smoke point higher, like coconut oil or even just regular olive oil, or peanut oil for that matter. But since, you know, we're trying to watch what we're putting in our systems, extra virgin's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put that onion that we prepped up and the stems that we chopped up earlier. Just a little salt. The reason why we use salt here is not only for seasoning, but to also start. The reason we salt is not only to season, but it's also to help start breaking down some of the fibers in the actual stems, as well as bring out some of those natural sugars in the onion. All right, so there's always a reason for everything. Got some black pepper here. Just gonna sprinkle a little bit of black pepper in there, just a little bit. You don't need much. Normally I would use my fresh cracked pepper, but my pepper mill broke recently, so I'm back to the old school method of little shaker. That's okay, as long as it works. But I do like fresh black pepper in that. Kind of get it rolling, just move it around. Here we can crank it up, crank the heat up just a little bit, because I can just tell just by the sound that the heat is not high enough. I really want to hear a little bit more popping going on, a little more crispy. So you can hear that already now. Now that I turned it up. You hear that? So always cook with all your senses, including sound. And I'm gonna wait just a little bit for that to come up to the actual temp that I want. All right, so now we are back. It's been here about maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, and it's already sweating. The vegetables are already tenderizing. The onions are starting to get a little transparent, which is what I want. You can see that the red color from the onion has already kind of bled out, as well as some of the stems. And that's all pretty important indication that the flavor is being extracted, which is what we want. That flavor is really important. Now I'm just gonna start adding stuff to it, all right? Little bay leaf, a little one. You don't need a whole lot for this. Okay. I didn't have any garlic with me. Again, sometimes I just kind of cook, you know, off the cuff, and I didn't have any garlic in me, so that's all right. I got some garlic powder. You know, why not? Just a little bit, just a little bit. Not even 1/8 of a teaspoon. Caraway seeds, love it. Adds nice depth to the actual dish. It's good, goes well with pork as well. So if I wanted to have pork with this, cool. Just a couple of shakes, not much. Okay, now since we're braising the actual cabbage, we're going to use dried herbs. In this case, we're going to use some dried thyme, which I like. You can use fresh if you want, but I would recommend the fresh going in at the end of the cooking process. So continue to stir. All right, the stuff is starting to dry up. All that moisture that came out of the onions and stems is starting to now to evaporate. So things are going to start getting sticky at the bottom. So we want to make sure that we keep moving and we don't actually burn it. Now, we're going to deglaze, which means to pull off any of that dry stuff at the bottom of the pan with a little bit of red wine vinegar. There's a couple of reasons why we use it. Okay, that was probably about a quarter cup, maybe, yeah, about a quarter cup or so of vinegar. Red wine vinegar, you can use cider vinegar if you want. You can use balsamic in there as well. And then instead of using just like granulated sugar, I'm just gonna use some honey. I didn't have any organic, raw honey, but that's okay, it's just a little bit. Okay, I don't think that was even a tablespoon, but we'll call it a tablespoon, all right? Really stir that around. Some low sodium or unsalted chicken stock. I would say maybe about a cup's worth. Now you can go ahead and add your leaves. Just gotta give that a good stir. That's it, and all we're gonna do now is just kind of bring it to a boil. All right, so we got see that a little bit now. And I'm gonna get that moisture at the bottom to boil, which is already starting to do. Bring it up to a boil, a nice rapid boil. Get it really heated up, and then I'm going to cover it and bring the temperature down to at least a medium to a medium low, all right? Because we do want to still continue to cook out those stems. The leaves are going to cook out faster, but that's why we cook the stems off for like an extra 5 minutes ahead of time. So it's all about the timing of things and the ingredients in a dish. So you can still, like I said, use the stems, but you need to know exactly, you know, how to cook them ahead of time. And this is one great way of getting all that fiber, all that great nutrition from the stems with the actual leaves. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. It's gonna boil away. I'm gonna cover it, I'm gonna simmer it, and it's gonna rock once it's done. All right, guys, now you can see that it's all dried up at the bottom. It has evaporated. I've already turned it off. What I mean by dried off is that all that liquid that we extracted, all that flavor that we extracted that had gone into the vinegar and chicken stock, got reincorporated into the actual Swiss chard and the stems and all that good flavor, as well as evaporated. So there's full concentration going on in there. So what we got here is braised Swiss chard. Good stuff. Put it on a plate. I'm trying to do this one-handed selfie style. But there it is, just Swiss chard, and it goes so good with just about any protein, whether it's a pork tenderloin, which is one of my favorites to have with this. You can even like maybe roast some apples or pears to go along with that, sweet potato, what have you. Anyways, enjoy that. It's very, very simple to braise greens, and Swiss chard is one of my favorites. All right, guys, take care. Bye.